Hello, everyone. Welcome to today's webinar. I'm Barbara Scafidio, editor of Prevue and curator of our Summit series, and I will be your moderator for the next hour. I am thrilled to welcome three special guests today. We have Ann Gorman, Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Streamline Events, David Manzella, Senior Vice President of Sales and Marketing at Posadas USA, and Pamela Payne, Senior Director for Meeting and Incentive Sales at AM Resorts. Thank you so much for being with us today. I'm going to let them introduce themselves in just a minute and talk about their companies a little bit, but I needed to do a little bit of housekeeping. So while I'm talking, why don't you type into your question box and let us know where your next program to Mexico is going to be, and I'll read that out in a couple of minutes. Today's session will be recorded, so if you need to step away from your computer, don't worry, we'll send you a link at the end. And as with all Prevue webinars, you will receive CEUs for taking part of the event today. Please ask questions. These programs are always best when there are just tons of questions at the end, and we will leave time. You can type right into the console, and about 1:50 Eastern, we will do a Q&A. So on that note, I'd like to pass it over to Ann to self-introduce, and welcome to Ann.
Thank you very much. As Barbara said, I'm Ann Gorman, and I am the Vice President of Sales and Marketing for Streamline Events. We are a San Francisco-based events agency supporting our clients with both the design and execution of global conferences, executive experiences, and of course, incentives. Our team includes everything from event design and experience design, sourcing and contracting, event logistics and management, registration, attendee management. We've gotten very good at digital and hybrid events. We have a really amazing creative and experiential team, and then we support all the way through on-site execution. And you know, if I think about our teams, there's one really major thing we share in common, and that is just a downright obsession with details. It is in our DNA to be meticulous with the smallest details while still embracing those big ideas. We're very proud to be known for our integrity and whatever it takes approach to strong and strategic partnering. And I think the best part is that we're known to have fun while doing so. A little bit about me. I have spent my entire career on the agency side of the business. Started out as a travel director 20 plus something years ago. And since then I've held pretty much every role on the agency side. And I think it's given me a really deep appreciation for the hard work that goes into what we do. Whether it's our sourcing and registration and event management teams, all of our hotel and DMC partners, our amazing clients. You know, it's the whole proverbial "it takes a village" saying, and I just so genuinely adore the village that is this industry. This past year, we've seen so much grit and determination, and at the same time, so much compassion and support. And it's just amazing, and I feel so grateful that this career found me so many years ago. I'm glad to be part of this panel. Mexico is one of my favorite destinations, my favorite hotel, my favorite restaurant, and many of my favorite partners are all in Mexico. I was joking with my husband, a quick flip through my passport will really prove to you just how often I make sure I get down there. So very much looking forward to the conversation today.
Thank you. I echo what you said about this industry being a village in the past year. So thank you for being here. And in fact, I want to read off some of the destinations. It looks like we've got all the hot spots covered, from Los Cabos, Riviera Maya, Mexico City, another Los Cabos, Cancun. So, you know, people are, they're returning to Mexico. We're very excited to hear about that. Yeah. On that note, our next panelist, David Manzella, will introduce himself.
Thank you, Barbara, and good afternoon or good morning to some of you on the West Coast. Let me share my screen here. Go. Can you see everything, Barbara? Just make sure.
Good. Yeah.
Great. Thank you. Barbara, thank you and the Prevue team for putting this together. It's an honor to be on this panel with Ann and Pamela, and just really excited, kind of taking off of what Ann was talking about. We're so excited here because we've been talking for the last year and just almost 18 months, just this industry and our cherished industry and what we've devoted our passion to. So, I've been with Posadas Fiesta Americana for over 11 years. I've been in the industry for 20 plus years. And obviously we've taken a big hit this last 18 months, but we are moving forward. The industry is revived and we're moving forward, and the time has come to meet again. So I'm excited. I have about a 2-hour presentation here. I'm going to get it down to about 2 minutes, 3 minutes. So I'll start clicking forward here. That's me. Obviously, we're welcoming guests back. We're welcoming our clients back. We're operating group after group right now. We've had just a tremendous demand increase over these last few months. What a difference a few months make. And touching again what Ann was talking about, it's just so incredible to see us all come together, all walks, all industry folk, from DMCs to hotels to, of course, our cherished clients. And thank you all for being here today. And we're welcoming people back, and welcome them back safely with our Travel with Confidence plan. Everything's laid out there. All hotels and restaurants, everyone has different plans. This is our best-in-class plan. We've teamed up with 3M and ABC Medical. Travel with Confidence Protection. We have you back. We're bringing you back safely, and that's the biggest thing. So when you come to our resorts, you're ready to meet again and meet safely. For those of you who are a little newer to our brand, Fiesta Americana Grand Meetings Mexico is the umbrella brand of Posadas. Posadas has been around since the 1969, actually. We have close to 200 hotels and resorts. These are our 4 main brands, from the Aqua to the Grand to the Fiesta Americana to the Explorian. Destinations, we have you covered throughout Mexico. Today's main focus is Mexico. We have resorts and hotels throughout many, many locations in Mexico. And now we just opened up our first property in the Caribbean, up in Punta Cana. We'll touch base real quick on. Before I dive into our main resorts, I want to talk about just 2 amazing city destinations. And that's the Live Aqua Urban Resort San Miguel. Just a fantastic property in San Miguel, one of my favorite cities in the entire world. And for those looking to maybe go to Europe, and right now Europe is still having a few issues opening up, this is a great alternative. Cobblestone streets, it's just the culinary, the history of this city is just fantastic. And to follow that up is the Grand Fiesta Americana Oaxaca, another very colonial city in south central Mexico, just a beautiful, beautiful city with a lot of history, a lot of culture. Our main resorts, real quickly, with about a minute left I have, Los Cabos, beautiful property, one of our main sellers when it comes to groups and events and the incentive industry. We recently redid the product there not too long ago. And then also at the Grand Fiesta Americana Los Cabos, we have a Live Aqua Residences, beautiful residence, 1, 2, 3 bedroom residences and 4 bedrooms, some with their own private pools. Moving up the coast, the West Coast, Fiesta Americana Puerto Vallarta. I'll actually be going here next week on a family vacation with my 5-year-old daughter and my beautiful wife and a bunch of other couples that are going down with me with their kids, so can't wait. I'll be sitting right there at that pool. 291 rooms. We just completed, it says currently undergoing, we just finished up last week, last month I should say, the room renovation. So all the room product has been refreshed. We have a brand new Peninsula restaurant, La Isla, beautiful spa, fantastic, fantastic property. Live Aqua, moving back now to Cancun, over in the Mexican Caribbean, we have Live Aqua Beach Resort Cancun, adults only, all inclusive, one of our top sellers. There's a beautiful picture of it. Also just recently completed a complete renovation right before the pandemic started. So these rooms are brand new and ready to welcome you down. Staying in Cancun, our Grand Fiesta Americana Coral Beach all-inclusive spa resort. It is now all-inclusive. For those of you who are familiar, this is our flagship property. Over 600 rooms, all suite product, beautiful. We're adding many, many new outlets and restaurants and opportunities there now that it's completely all-inclusive. Great staff that we have there, and that's what brings people back, is our warm Mexican hospitality and the incredible staff and team that we have at all these properties. And staying in Cancun, Fiesta Americana Condesa, all-inclusive, also just completed a multi-million-dollar renovation, ready to welcome your groups back. Restaurants have been all redone and reimagined. Brand new room product, just a fantastic property. And then finally, real quick, we just opened our first property in the Caribbean, the Live Aqua Beach Resort, Punta Cana, and there it is, brand new, just opened up in February. We're really excited. We're having group after group here. We're really excited to welcome this to the Posadas family.
Thanks.
Couple of events, Express Events Program. We have our recognition, individual incentive travel programs. And there's our questions. And that's it for me, Barbara.
Thank you. Thank you, David. Fabulous.
Thank you, David.
So
you.
now we'll turn it over to Pamela to tell us about AM Resorts.
Thank you, Barbara. I'm very excited to be on this esteemed panel and also representing a great bunch of ladies with the AM Resorts Meetings and Incentives Division, as well as the 55 resorts that we currently have. To keep it relevant and quick, what sets AM Resorts apart from other all-inclusive resort companies is Four Diamond experience without the Four Diamond price tag. The world-class spas, ideal beachfront settings, never wristbands, 24-hour room service, and always premium pool and beach service. Currently the fastest growing resort company in the world with 8 brands, 70 resorts throughout the world, 24,000 rooms, 8 countries. Here is a map currently where we are in the world, and to focus on our brands that are specifically for groups. Adult-oriented, Baby Bear, Zoetry, Secrets, and Breathless. Zoetry located with 4 locations, 2 of which are in Mexico and are best-selling. Some of the brand attributes of our 5 Diamond boutique collection, and our #1 selling for meeting and incentive groups, Secrets, with over a 71% repeat program ratio that come back year after year to our Secrets brands, with locations in all the major points in Mexico, as well as some strategic locations around the world. Since we're talking about Mexico today, we will go over some of the highlights, some of the best brand attributes for Secrets, and Breathless for our hip crowd. Los Cabos, Riviera Maya, we've just opened a new construction in Cancun, the Breathless Soul, which we can touch on. Trendy bars, again with our 4 Diamond and unlimited luxury concepts. Dreams Resorts and Spas is for groups and groups with families. Located also strategically throughout all the major hotspots in Mexico. And some of our new resorts opening in Mexico, just in a soft opening as we speak in Puerto Vallarta, one of the newest, most amazing new constructions in Punta Mita. This is the Secrets and Dreams Bahia Mita. Soft opening this month and a grand opening in August. And looking forward to hosting already more than 300 groups on the programs, meetings, and incentives. Breathless Cancun Soul. 429 rooms, that's in the vibrant Cancun hotel zone. And one of our newest gyms in the collection, the Secrets Moksha in Playa del Carmen, featuring the Dreams Natura Resort and Spa with the biggest convention space that we currently have in the collection. Dreams Vista Cancun already open and experiencing a fantastic return with corporate meeting and incentive groups. Our compliments to you. Now with our group rates, we include your private events, welcome receptions, gala dinners, all included. Our Diamond Advantages gives each of our groups customized expressly for groups to enhance the benefits for private events. VIP deluxe check-ins, complimentary upgrades and rooms, discounts, upgrades to master suites, and certificates for our planners. 5% cash forward, 5% of your total contract value will go towards the next event. This, along with our great service and facilities, has resulted in the amazing 70% repeat program ratio. Clean Complete, we've also got your back. Everything is Everything is covered with our hygiene, quality, safety programs at the resorts. We've had very, very low positive testing ratio, and for that we can all be proud as a destination and as an industry. Did some case studies. We could send you this presentation afterwards so you can see that all-inclusive in Mexico is a lot more valuable than hosting an event in California or Hawaii. Thank you very much. We're excited to get on with the discussion and let you know why Mexico is the perfect destination for your next event.
Thank you. And we already have a planner who is asking about San Miguel. So David, we'll hook you up
Love
with
it.
them. But I would like to start the discussion with what is on everyone's minds. Safety. And, you know, as much as you can include real world examples in this discussion and groups that you've had already visit, I think it'd be really helpful to share how much is already happening in Mexico. But why don't we start with just entry requirements? Are there any testing or entry requirements, or can groups just visit? And what might they be?
Yeah, we just recently had a meeting at Planner Fam in Cancun at the Dreams Vista. And currently, you know, we don't have to bring a COVID test in, but with groups of 3 nights or more, we are required, I believe, by the airlines to have a negative COVID test to return. So we provided those complimentary. And just out of curiosity, I asked our general manager, this has been implemented, I believe, since April. And with over 9,000 regular guests gone through the Dreams Vista Cancun, they had 1 positive test, one teenager. And currently the AM Resorts program allows for the quarantine to stay at no extra cost.
Yeah, the same thing in Pamela, as Pamela just mentioned with Posadas and Fiesta Americana Grand Meets Mexico. Part of the Travel with Confidence protection plan is we do the free antigen test right on property. Very simple, very easy. We set it up for all our groups and all our guests, quite frankly. And again, the good news is we've had less than 1% of positive tests. But if they should become positive, we have on-site doctors. They get to stay at the property. And take very good care of them, obviously. But it's been a successful program, and that's an entry to come back to the United States, as the United States has for all countries throughout the world, in order to come back. But in order to go into Mexico, no, you do not need to have a COVID test, a negative COVID test to enter Mexico. So to answer that question, no, but we do have you covered to come back. You will be asked at the airlines. It's a very simple process, and we're operating group after group, week after week, and it's been very, very successful.
Okay. What about masking? Is that something that is still being done, or are we past masking?
We are still encouraging folks to wear their mask on property when they're traveling throughout the property. Obviously, if you're laying out at the beach or at the pool, you can remove your mask, but we're still having that implemented throughout our properties.
Okay. I'd like to talk a little bit about safety measures at hotels, and you touched on them in your presentations. But what's a typical program entail? I mean, I just a couple of programs, and hand sanitizer was everywhere. Social distancing was still, the properties were still working with me to social distance the attendee seating. Food was not served. People could not self-serve. The hotel served people on buffets. What is it like in your properties, and what kind of precautions are in place, protocols?
I think as a destination, we're speaking specifically of Cancun right now, but Mexico as a whole, the hotels have taken really extended measures towards health and safety. Tourism is bread and butter, and they are so excited to have them back. The buffet lines are gone. People do not serve themselves anymore, but we do have full staff behind the line, serving up exactly what they want, because the guests just point them out. They go to the extent of sanitizing the rooms every single day, not just when guests check in or out. They will cellophane and wrap individual coffee cups and house robes. In the spa, you'll find that your slippers and your house robe have been sanitized and sealed. So they really go to an elaborate extent to make sure that the health and safety of the guest is first and foremost. And I'm sure that our friends at Posadas have got some really exciting measures that they've implemented as well.
Yeah, absolutely, Pamela. And it's a lot of the same thing. It's just enhanced cleaning and safety precautions and protocols and health and safety. You know, the buffets, and we've been getting these comments, we still have the buffets. They're just attended buffets now. It's an elevated experience. It's amazing to see because, and at the end, it's actually working out in our favor because sometimes people go up, they fill up a whole plate of food that they don't even eat. Well, now they go around, it's an elevated experience. You have someone, they're all attended stations and they're serving you, giving you your plate. That's just one example. We're going to keep that. But I do want to mention that we're almost beyond, like, we're not even really getting the questions anymore from our groups because they know Mexico is doing it right. They're doing a good job. All the hotels, all the staff, they're so passionate about this because, as Pamela mentioned, this is their livelihood. This is what they do, and it's such a tremendous GDP for the country alone. So they did it right off from the beginning. We had some of our first groups in July of 2020 of last year, and they've been successful, and they've been and everyone has been healthy and safe. So groups are almost looking beyond that now. They're really talking about the experiences at the resorts and what are they doing, the content. It's really, and the title of my opening slide was "The Time Has Come to Meet Again," because people are meeting again. It's great to see. I've been traveling pretty much every week. I just got back late last night from another meeting. The airports are packed, the planes are packed, the hotels are crowded, but people are doing it safely. And it's so exciting to see for our industry. As Ann mentioned earlier, we're all in this together, and it's just a delight to see everyone traveling again.
I agree. I think I was on a call with FICP yesterday, a group of planners, and we were talking about how different companies, different industries are at different stages. So this transition is going to go on for a little while, where some are new to programs. They're just starting up, while others have done multiples. And I'd love to hear about your company and programs to Mexico. Anything you can share?
Yeah, the live events that we have been doing so far, which really started back in the fall of last year, have been, primarily smaller ones. I would say kind of the CABs and global leadership summits, which to a certain extent I sort of put in the same category as an incentive trip. I would say in general, we're beyond grateful and impressed at the safety measures and the programs that our hotel partners have put in place, and how clear they're communicating everything. I think for us as an agency, we very much recognize that we need to be very straightforward and set attendees' expectations about what they're going to experience. And we rely on our hotel partners to clearly communicate that with us. I just preparing for this panel was looking at the differences between what the CDC website says, the State Department website says, the airlines websites, the hotel partners websites, what you see on social media. I mean, it's very difficult to truly decipher what the current state is in the destination that you're going to. So really, we lean very heavily on our hotel partners, and very grateful for the programs that they put in place. Attendees are, to your point, Barbara, people are in varying stages of returning to travel. And we're very mindful of that, varying stages of comfort level with it as well. And the clear communication, very explicit detail about what they can expect, setting those expectations makes all the difference in the world to them.
Right. I think case studies help, and I think sharing with people who've done successful programs is really helpful. So I noticed, Pamela, you had some of those in your presentation, but I think that's the answer people are looking for. How did you do it? Where did you, tell me about the different aspects of your program. On that note, we have a terrific video by Pamela that we'd like to share that covers the return of programs. Roll it, Gary.
Well, this pandemic and the lockdowns that have followed were always going to take an incredible toll on the travel and tourism sector.
Hotel doors closed, restaurants empty, and cruise ships idled.
Businesses that depend on tourist spending say the impact of the pandemic is unprecedented.
According to the World Travel and Tourism Council, the sector is estimated to lose 100 million jobs in 2020.
We all know about the news of last year, but now it's time for good news.
The tourism industry is recovering very fast, faster than we ever anticipated.
But the recovery is not about the business. It's not about the hotels or the industry or the shareholders.
The important recovery is the one that our collaborators and their families are experiencing thanks to you and your support.
Without you, we wouldn't be able to achieve this.
And we want to thank you all from the bottom of our hearts.
On behalf of AM Resorts, we would like to thank you for making this recovery happen.
We are so happy to have you back.
Muchas gracias.
Gracias por todo su apoyo. Thank you for helping us recover.
Muchas gracias. Gracias por ayudarnos a recuperarnos.
Thanks for coming back.
Gracias por habernos escogido como sus anfitriones.
Let's celebrate the good news, all of you, and let's have a great time.
That was great. Thank you for that.
You're welcome.
I do have a question. I'm just going to break this up a little bit. That's so perfect for the safety segment before we move to discuss value and the return of incentive groups. But this is from Anita. For the places that are all inclusive where alcohol is involved and you have to deal with lowered inhibitions and the behavior that follows, have you had to deal with that at being all inclusive properties? So if anyone wants to take that, I know for me, for Prevue summits, we did alter the first program, how we served alcohol, and we actually had masks that had straws, and people drank out of the straws so that they wouldn't be on top of each other. But we're way past that now. But I'd like to know if you've seen anything that can answer Nita's question, either Pamela.
Well, we're all of us here in luxury collections, yes, and especially the demographics of our guests and for our group events, certainly lend to a quality of higher behavior. However, everybody likes to have a good time, and I'm not operations, but we put the health of our other guests and also the dignity of most of our guests into consideration first when handling a situation like that. As far as certain stories, I think I'm going to plead the fifth on that one.
And again, outdoor events are still quite safe, and a great place to have a cocktail party, and we've got beautiful spaces so outdoors. So
one of the things, I think that addressing this, that we sort of have learned and are kind of proactively applying to future events is that attendees don't necessarily have the same stamina for that full day live event as they did pre-COVID. We've all spent the last 18 months behind a computer on when we're on, but off when we're off. And we noticed in the first few live events that we were doing is that, the coming down for a 7 a.m. breakfast and making it all the way until 10 o'clock at night, like we all used to, 10 plus. I mean, please, let's be real. They can't do it anymore. It's exhausting and it's physically draining. So I think that's something now that we're proactively really thinking about what the agenda looks like so that we're giving attendees a break, giving them time to go back to the room, decompress, refresh, and functions maybe don't need to go as late as they used to. And then you can kind of, avoid some of those situations where you're having to have that uncomfortable conversation with either, a valued employee or a valued customer, even more awkward,
Yeah, and that. It's exactly what I mentioned earlier, the content and customizing each event, because everybody's different. Every company's different. Every guest is different right now. And we're seeing that too. So I can't go all day like that anymore either. So, you know, it's interesting to work with each client's a little bit different. Some of them still want that packed agenda with the cocktails every night till 10, 11 o'clock at night, and others, as Ann mentioned, want those breaks and separate and a little more space in between, because we are just getting back. We are just operating groups again. And for some people, it's the first time. It's the first time back on a plane. It's the first time back at a resort. So it is interesting to see group by group, case by case.
True. There's a great tool. There you can either have bracelets or something on the badge that shows your comfort level with close. And
Yeah.
it's like a red light, a yellow caution light, and then and I've seen them used, and I've seen people, you know, excited. Oh, you've got a green light. You know, I can give you a hug. So I mean, there are a lot of really great types of products that are coming out of this that we're finding helpful as planners. So let's get talking about incentive travel, because that's a big part of what those groups are attracted to your destination. How is the incentive business going, and what makes Mexico so attractive right now for incentive programs? You want to jump on that, Pamela?
Sure. You know, our industry has been through so much, and I know, you know, all of us here are some of the old veterans. We've been 9/11 and swine flu and AIG and, you know, fake tainted alcohol, fake news, but the resilience that we've all shown as an industry, and from the event managers to the bellmen to, you know, to group salespeople, it really is astounding how well we continue to bounce back, and that shows the resiliency and the heart and the spirit of all of us as human beings. So, you know, I know, David, you went through this too. We sat there for the last 9 months, 2020, relocating $100 million worth of groups, and knowing that our event managers were going through really twice that amount with, you know, all the participants involved in the different companies, the different industries. Everybody worked really hard to keep it together. And, you know, for that, we can be really proud of ourselves as an industry. I think 80% of our groups chose to postpone instead of canceling altogether. And that's not something we saw back in, you know, 2001. It has come back with a fury. The floodgates for leisure travel, we started trickling back, as David said, last summer, you know, and we had groups as early as July 2020 that were like, you know, we're industry strong, and we're going to do this. Our people have worked hard and they deserve it. And, you know, as more groups traveled and came across little to no issues whatsoever, you know, everybody was inspired by that and continued to do so. The leisure floodgates opened in April, and you know, the hotels and the destinations, the airlines, and the airports are packed. So we see 2022 still on the upswing, and 2023 being right back to where we were at, you know, one of our highest levels.
Right.
And to complement that, what Pamela said, the big thing with us is what a quarter makes. We just looked at the analytics from Q1 to Q2, and CVent sent us some analytics. CVent, of course, which is one of our main lead sourcing engines and great partner. We're up 80% in lead volume since Q1 to Q2. And as you can imagine, a lot of that is incentive travel. A lot of it's incentive travel. Smaller, as Ann mentioned earlier, some of the groups are a little bit smaller in size right now, but you're starting to see them getting larger and larger and larger as people feel more and more comfortable as they're getting out and about right now. The issue we're running into, and I'm sure Pam was running into the same thing with her hotels, is a lot of those groups we moved in 2020, it's creating a lot of compression now in late 21 and 22, and you're seeing that in a lot of areas throughout not only Mexico, but in the United States, Vegas, Orlando, some of the main feeder markets, main MICE markets. You're seeing that compression build up as we moved all the groups. We actually were able to keep and save over 95% of our groups that wanted to move last year. And that's all attributed to my amazing team. I mean, and how they are and how incredible the clients are that worked with us, because they're all in it together with us too. And companies wanting to work with us and the meeting planners. It's a partnership, as we mentioned earlier. So all that business we moved into late 21 and 22 is already on the. Now we have an 80% increase in demand of lead volume, and it's great to have. It's a good problem to have. Trust me, it's a lot better than moving groups. We're trying to find holes for all this new business. And it's just, it's exciting. It gets your heart pumping again, and to be back out on the road and meeting with amazing clients and partners that we have. They're all saying the same thing too. They're giving the UK now. And keep in mind, all this business is really primarily from the United States. Our friends to the north in Canada, they're not even open yet. They just started announcing flights coming later this fall. Our friends across, abroad over in Europe and South America, they're just starting to open their doors. So this demand is primarily just coming from domestic Mexican business and, of course, the United States. So it's incredible to see.
Anne, why don't you tell us about where your program is going?
Yeah, so really, we've talked a little bit about right now, it's primarily the smaller groups. We see some traction with the kind of traditional bigger incentives that we all think of when you say the words incentive trip, really starting in Q2 of next year, and picking up decent steam. I mean, we've got every incentive that we had pre-pandemic is booked and back in 2022, and then growing again for 2023. So very encouraging trend there. I will say that we definitely feel the compression on the agency side of the business, but there is one of the things I wanted to make sure I mentioned on this call today was if I talk to my team about it, there's a different approach to that compression with our hotel partners in Mexico versus other destinations. It's very collaborative. It's very solution oriented. It's really, you don't get well, sorry, you've got to let me know by Friday or the space is gone. It's, all right, what can we do? How can we work with you? Let's figure out a way to make this work, which we so appreciate. We understand the compression right now. We feel it, but we also truly appreciate the approach of our hotel partners in Mexico that they're taking to this compression. I will say some of the other trends we're seeing right now, across the return to live events in general, there is a kind of a bias towards making sure we're really emphasizing the connection and the networking time, letting people have those opportunities to face-to-face reconnect with each other, which really naturally aligns with the purpose of an incentive trip. And so you can incorporate that really well, and it's making for some really interesting opportunities. Day at leisure, which was a fairly popular, checkbox on a registration form for an optional activity, is taking on a whole new meaning, because if we're going to say, okay, the optional activities don't have the same capacity they used to, or the operators aren't back up and running yet. Well, let's create some really great options for people to hang at the hotel together and reconnect and have a good time. I think that's been interesting, and one of the trends we're seeing. I think the other interesting trend is that, if we think about clients' budgets, they're either way up because they've got that surplus from the money they didn't spend last year, or they're way down because, the company is trying to, really keep an eye on finances and, trying to help the company recover. So that's kind of something interesting, that you're either really looking for ways to spend money, or you're really tightening things down to the bare bones.
Very insightful. Thank you.
That's good.
I think we will break right now to move into a video that David has provided. Mexico, my view. We've divided our discussion about Mexico up into a few topics, and the final topic before we open it up for questions, and I encourage the audience right now to start sending them my way, so you're at the top of the queue, is to talk about value. And value in Mexico have always been synonymous. I would love, I know Pamela, you had shared some information with me along these lines. I'd love to have a discussion about the value of this destination for people who might not be quite aware of it. So do you want to share a little bit on that?
Sure. Well, Mexico's always been considered a high value. Goods and services have typically been less than what they were in the USA and Canada, and especially from Europe. And if we compare some of the Caribbean destinations that are governed by Europe, a lot of the laws and the tariffs are all, directly impact what it costs to produce an experience for a guest in terms of food and beverage, in terms of staffing. So in Mexico, we have that value. The produce and the fruit and vegetables that you can find in Mexico are really outstanding. And as Mexico has developed, over the last couple of decades, it's not the Mexico that we used to think of, where it's like, don't drink the water. It's a world-class destination with, amazing service. The chefs are outstanding and literally have taken up their place on the world stage in terms of being able to produce an experience like we're able to produce today. And my hat's off and me heart is for the Mexicans. Proud of them, and they're proud to be associated with the Mexicans.
Yeah, and it's taking off of that, it's, as Pam mentioned, what an experience you're going to get when you go. So when you think of the value you're getting at our hotels and resorts throughout Mexico, and at the price you're getting at, the experiences you're getting there, the culinary level, the memories you're going to walk away with is second to none. So it has come a long way, decade after decade, and today the infrastructure that is in place at all the major markets, whether it's Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, Cancun, Riviera Maya, and on, is in place. Our DMC partners that we work with, they are best in class. They are amazing partners. From the CSR programs that we do to everything we do from front to end, it is a high level, high class establishment. Not only our hotels, the AM Resorts and all the other partners down there, they are going to give you the best experience, because again, it's all about authentic Mexican hospitality, bringing you back. 80% of our programs as well are returning guests, and they move around the country to different markets, whether it's Cabo, Puerto Vallarta, or Cancun. And an additional value add that we work with the Mexican government is the 16% VAT. So you get to save the 16% as long as you have a meeting component attached to your event. That's 16% off the bottom line. You don't see that. It's a huge deduction. That's just one of many, many things that the value you're going to get to go to Mexico or the Caribbean is second to none when you're looking at other destinations that we compete with the Hawaiis, with the Southern California, South Florida. You're going to get that experience like no other at a great value.
And among your clients who are, incentive focused, are you finding that their budgets have remained the same, increased a little bit? What's your experience so far with the ones?
Yeah, it's one or the other. They either have more money than they typically have, or they've got a lot less money than they typically have. I would say, and probably with the next few years, I wouldn't imagine any significant increase in budget, which I think bodes really well for Mexico. From a very practical standpoint, the hotel rates you can get, the lift into the major destinations, the infrastructure there with optional activities, restaurants and nightlife, it's amazing. But I would say I completely agree with you, Pamela. Mexico doesn't feel like a value destination. The cultural immersion that you get when you're there, from the food, the music, the artists, the entertainment, I think it's just such an awesome experience. You get a value destination that does not feel like a value destination.
And in many destinations, the history is just amazing.
Absolutely.
Yeah. So I'm going to open it up to questions because they're coming in quickly, and we've just got about 10 minutes left. So whoever wants to take these as we go through, what from Leslie? What percentage of workers, citizens in Mexico are vaccinated? That's an interesting question. Does anyone have that?
Yeah, good question. I'll jump on that. We're actually working with the local authorities, getting our staff, and they just opened up in Mexico, just so everyone knows, 18 and up. Now you got to register, obviously, much like we did here in the United States back in March and April, where you opened it up to everyone. That's what's happening now in Mexico. So they are getting vaccinated. I can tell you my whole sales team is vaccinated because they've been up to the U.S. on events, and while they were here, we were taking them, and they were going to places like Dallas and Kansas City and get vaccinated. But they are getting vaccinated. Our CSM staff is getting vaccinated. Most of our staff at the properties are. It is a process, though. It's a little bit different. They don't have the supply like we do here in the United States, but it's coming. So again, they just opened up literally last week for 18 and up. You got to register, but more and more Mexicans and our staff, that's in our family, the Posadas family is getting vaccinated. So it's great to see. There's certain destinations like in Dominican Republic in Punta Cana, and Pamela has hotels there too, where the government works. It's a much smaller population. All the hospitality staff there is now vaccinated. So, but it just depends on the city and the destination in Mexico, but you're starting to see them roll out, and you're starting to see everyone get vaccinated. So it's really, it's so good to see.
Yeah, and it's a moving target. That will look, people are planning for the future. So in the future, those numbers are going to be much higher. A question about capacity, which is certainly a concern in some U.S. cities. What are the current capacity requirements for meetings and events? And when do you expect those to change or open up more? And they're talking specifically about, can you fill your ballrooms to max capacity?
I'll defer to you, David, on that. It's been going up and down depending on testing and results, and it's government mandated.
Yeah, and it varies between location, Barbara. It varies. Puerto Vallarta has a different capacity right now than Cabo and Cancun. They are going up though, and it's a traffic light system that they use in Mexico. Basically, red, yellow, orange. Red, orange, yellow, and green. We're currently all in yellow, and they all vary between the capacity limits. And then we're following those, and it's working very, very well. I can tell you we are at capacity at every one of our resorts. So with a combination of group guests and leisure guests, people are traveling, they're going down, and we're following the guidelines, we're following the capacity limits, and it varies. By the end of the year, our expectation, here we are in July 15th, we're in the yellow color code now with most of our locations. I would definitely expect this to be green, full capacity within the next few months. That's the expectation. And hopefully the way things are trending. I know the media will have you believe that things are happening, but you got to really look into the data, into the hard data when they want to continue to talk about the Delta variant and things like that. What I'm seeing, the numbers continue to go down. Things are going very, very well. So we're confident things are going to be completely open by the end of the year. That's, of course, we're following our guidelines, following the health and safety protocols, getting vaccinated, and doing what we got to do as an industry to ensure we're back safely.
Okay. Here's a question about Cancun and activities, which we haven't really spoken a lot about. Various incredible activities you can do from Cancun. Are they still operating as before? And are groups traveling off-site to activities around Cancun? Anna,
so I would say how we're kind of approaching this is, yes, all of our groups are still interested in traveling to do optional activities. Lots of interest, great, same level of signups we would see, in pre-COVID times. What we do see is lower capacities on most of the activities. And so you've just got to be a little bit more strategic. If you were going to do one day of optional activities, you might need to do 2 or 3 to be able to accommodate everybody. And then this is where it helps to have a really great DMC partner, because that DMC partner is the one who can tell you, is this tour operator open today? Are they still going to be open 6 months from now when the program operates? What are their safety protocols? I think that's when it helps to really have those great hotel and DMC partners.
Yeah, Dan mentioned having a great partner, having a great DMC is so important. We have so many good ones in all the major locations throughout Mexico, and they know their stuff. Boy, do they ever! And it's great. And we're seeing that too, as Ann mentioned. It's a variety now of options that you choose, offsite experiences, whether it's snorkeling or catamarans or doing the cenotes or doing the cave diving. There's so many things to choose from, and you can do multiple options and break them up into smaller groups, because there are capacity limits, just like we have in the hotels. The places that we're talking about and the venues that offer those experiences also have to follow those capacity limitations. So, as things continue to move forward, we work towards from yellow now into green, they'll start opening up more. But what a great opportunity to offer a variety of options and work with DMC partners, and they'll be able to give you a long list of options to choose from.
That's always preferable anyway. So, that's people are always looking for a variety of options. And then there are people who just don't want to participate. They just want to relax. So just a little of everything. A couple more questions we have room for. This is very specific, but I think it'll be very helpful. When did the process for VAT tax rebate begin? Does the hotel need to initiate? Anyone answer that?
Well, the VAT tax is very simple. As I mentioned earlier, it's a seamless process. It's 16% throughout Mexico. Again, working with the Mexican government, we're able to keep that program growing. It just comes off your bottom line. So your master account, you'll see a line item, 16%. We take all the passports in, we make the copies, we do everything for you. So there's really it's not a hard, you have to be an international attendee coming into Mexico. So it doesn't apply to, because we have a lot of groups now, as groups are coming back, they have Latin American headquarters in Mexico City or Monterrey. It doesn't apply to the Mexican attendees. It applies to anyone outside of Mexico coming into Mexico. 16%, we take a copy of your passport for accounting purposes, and it comes right off your bottom line. So it's not like you pay it and we reimburse it.
Great.
It's a straight line item reduction. And I'm sure AM Resorts does the same thing we do.
Yeah, all of our contracts and room rates are inclusive of tax and service, so it's not a burden that we put on the event manager or even the individual.
All righty. Unfortunately, last question from Jerry. Can you please discuss security measures taken to reassure group stakeholders? So, who would like to take that one?
I didn't hear the last part.
They're asking about security measures.
Security measures in terms of the virus, or in terms of safety?
In terms of safety and security for the group.
Yeah, well, I think we can speak for, a lot of the luxury products. We've got 24-hour security. Our hotels are gated. Names and identification is taken, when guests leave and come back to the property. So we've had very, very few incidents of security in any of our destinations. So it's something that we all take very seriously. Sometimes it could seem inconvenient to some people, to the extent to which we put security, but all in the names of the safety and security of our guests. We'll do, we'll take it to the furthest if we have to.
Yeah, and right from the airport, the moment you arrive at the airport, working with your DMC partner, right to the hotel, the checkpoints to get into the hotel. Security is priority number one, right up there with health and safety of every one of our guests. And there's no incidences. We every day we operate the highest security and health and safety of our guests. And that's all of us working together as a destination. Really delighted. Like I said, I'm down in Mexico every other week. I'm taking my 5-year-old daughter down there next week. So I'll be on vacation to my team listening in. But yeah, we're always looking after our guests. That's priority number one.
I think this falls into the same category as really any concern for a stakeholder, which we certainly know that comes up. They have their thoughts and opinions, they have things they've heard, and it's straightforward facts is what you can use to reassure them. And if you look at the straightforward facts, Mexico is a very safe destination to take groups to.
That has been my experience. And I'm delighted to have had the three of you here to spend an hour speaking about it. And I think people who attended got a lot out of it. So I am going to unfortunately have to close, but Anne, David, and Pamela, thank you so much for being a part of this panel.
It was an honor. Thank you.
Great. Thank you.
Everyone enjoy the rest of your day. Thank you.
Bye-bye.
Take care.
Bye.